Welcome in everybody to live coverage of India versus Japan here at the University of Waikato Men's Four Nations. Apologies if we lost you there for a few moments, but we're back online now and already the pushback has started. My name is John Whiting. Just briefly introduce my co-comments man for tonight, probably the man with the best head of hair in world hockey, Stu Pitu. Stuart, welcome.
Good afternoon, John, and to all the listeners on Facebook Live.
We're underway already. We, missed a chance to introduce the teams, so obviously we'll get into that just quickly here, but the Indian side ranked number 6 in the world, in pretty good form at the moment, 3rd at the recent FIH World League final. And Japan currently ranked 16th, but always a side which will bring good pace and counter-attacking flair. This should be a good battle, shouldn't it, Stu?
Yeah, it should be a good matchup today. The teams look pretty fresh out there. It's their first game of the series, so they should be keen to put their mark on the series right from the start.
Yes, and a warm welcome to everyone over in India watching through Facebook Live and also Japan. Great to have you with us, and we hope you enjoy the commentary this evening, or evening New Zealand time, but I think mid-morning back home. India a side which has some experienced players, but also quite a few youngsters on this trip. We've got 4 players in tonight's game on debut. Mandeep Singh, the most cap player with 205, and Chinglin Sana captaining the side tonight. For Japan, 2 players on debut, captained by Yamashita, 131 caps to his name, also quite a young side, so both of these teams obviously looking to start their 2018 year out well, and obviously trial a few new players, going into that new sort of phase as we've 2018 and 2 years away from the next Olympic Games. It's kind of this time that you start testing players, isn't it, Stuart?
Yeah, it's always good to have a mix in your team with the more experienced players and those younger guys coming through as well, because you can't always rely on the old heads. At some stage they are going to leave the game, so it's good to have those young guys coming through as well.
And both teams just feeling out early. You get the sense that this will be a high-scoring game or one that'll be quite low?
India already look like they're being pretty aggressive here. They're going forward with the ball a lot and they're setting a high press when they have the chance to. So it'll be interesting to see if they can get any circle penetration from that aggression.
I guess interesting to mention that Indian number 16, Srijesh, is back in goal. He's had a pretty lengthy layoff through injury, so obviously he'll be very excited to be back in the cage, and I'm sure everyone back home and Indian fans here in New Zealand will be pretty excited to see him there. He's pure class. As Japan just spreading the ball across the back, and like you said, there some good pressure coming from India. It's good to see a crowd building here at Mount Maunganui. It's been an iffy sort of day, to be fair. The sun has been hiding for most of the day, but we're hoping that the rain will stay away. It's fairly windy, but nice sort of hockey conditions.
Yeah, sunny Tauranga is a bit of a windy Tauranga today, so hoping the rain will stay away, but it's pretty good conditions for the hockey out there.
And Stuart, obviously a hockey player yourself, having played at a pretty good level, and for Midlands here in New Zealand, you would have played in all sorts, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you can get some pretty diabolical, I would describe it, weather here in Tauranga, so this is pretty good. I would not be complaining with the weather out there at the moment.
That's right. And if you do get a little bit of feedback through the microphones, it is fairly windy here, so we apologise for that. It's Japan just trying to get across the halfway, and they do there. One of the sort of rare occasions that they've been across halfway so far in the first quarter. India doing really well in defence. Just the first look at a ball into a circle from Srijesh, just lets it go into the goal, and India are away again. Rupinder at the back there, number 3 for India, is a pretty decent player. A very good exponent of the drag flick. So be backing himself tonight if they can earn some penalty corners, India. A very dangerous side from in the circle. Stuart, from a hockey player's perspective, how big is this series? The likes of Belgium world number 3, India world number 6, Japan and obviously our Vantage Black Sticks playing on home soil to start the year. It's pretty exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really awesome to have this calibre of teams here in New Zealand, especially for the extended series. They're playing a number of games here, which the locals can get along to and watch. So it's great to have that hockey here. And, of course, New Zealand and India will be building up to the Com Games coming up. So that's quite important build-up for those two teams especially.
Yeah, and like you say, Japan in an exciting kind of phase of hockey themselves leading into the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo. So they'll be putting a lot of emphasis in their program, and I'm sure we'll have some pretty good resources on hand to be a dangerous side over the next 2 years at least. Often find with teams who are hosting an Olympic Games that it kind of becomes a legacy for them, and you saw that with England or Great Britain come the London Games. And we've just got a penalty corner here, and India will be looking to score early here.
Pretty well worked corner from the Indians there. The long ball seems to be giving Japan a bit of trouble at the moment.
If you were a betting man, and I'm not, would you be saying Rupinder here?
I would be a betting man, and my money would be on Rupinder.
Just a little bit of a conversation with the umpire there. That's Tim Bond. Not quite sure what's happening, but a little bit of a breakdown in play, and Japan, I think, just being told to hurry up a little bit. And we've got a card, so that's one out and one less defender for Japan as they face up to India's first penalty corner of the match. Well, I was wrong.
I believe I owe you some money there, John.
Well, it was Hermanpreet Singh there with the flick, and I think he's earned himself a stroke. So I guess we're both right here, because Rupinder's going to take the stroke. Sure, just talk viewers through what you think happened there. Was that a last man in defence caught him on the body? Or?
Yeah, that's just body from the defender on the line. He's done his job keeping the ball out of the goal, but he's done it illegally with his body, so that umpire's awarded a stroke.
So India with the chance to go up early. Just casually into the side of the goal, and India up 1-0 over Japan midway through the first quarter. The penalty stroke from Rupinder. Stuart, probably, I guess, a good reflection of how the game is going so far. India looking pretty dominant so far.
Yeah, they're definitely the ones making most of the play and garnishing most of the possession so far.
Yeah, and as we watch this match play out, will be exciting for a couple of players, as I said. 4 on debut for India. Number 9, Simranjeet Singh. Number 12, Dilpreet Singh. Number 13, the goalkeeper. If they do split time, he might see some game time tonight. That's Krishnan Pathak. And number 30, Vivek Prasad. Still a teenager. It's a remarkable sort of program India have in terms of bringing young guys onto the scene who are, world class from the get-go, really. And you see guys already who are on debut and playing like they're at an Olympic Games level. And of course, a whole evening of hockey coverage for everyone watching at home with our Vantage Black Sticks up against Belgium later at 7:30. But enjoy this one first of all. It's been an exciting game so far. Here's just to touch on where we are playing this game in Tauranga, or Mount Maunganui, in the North Island of New Zealand. Stuart, you're a good Midlands boy, Central North Island boy. Tell us a little bit about the area and its hockey strengths, because it is one of the strongholds of the country, isn't it?
Yeah, I've played hockey here for a number of years, obviously growing up in Hamilton, just over the Kaimais. Pretty good hockey region in general. We tend to be fairly well set with our defenders, and we make a couple of good midfielders that are showing up for the Black Sticks later on this evening as well.
Yeah, and plenty of Vantage Black Sticks players, like you say, have come through the system, and in Tauranga specifically. One of the famous lads, Andy Hayward, was hoping to be with us tonight, but couldn't make it. One of our best drag flickers that we've ever had. Back to the action on the turf with India again, looking to put some pressure on. Been using the flanks really well. But Japan are a very quick side. They will stick throughout the match, I'm sure.
If Japan want to get themselves any decent go forward, they're going to have to get their midfielders involved in this game, because at the moment they're hitting the ball around the back and down the flanks, and it's far too easy for India to just sit there and collect those types of passes.
Yeah, and they are a side, I guess, who relies a lot on the counter-attack, and when you come up against a side like India, they potentially won't get too many of those chances, will they? The captain there, Chingnan Sana, just looking to clear the ball out. One player again who's had some huge match experience against his name, and will be looking to hold his side together while here in New Zealand. There's fantastic stick skills from India, always, aren't there? They're one of those teams, and you know you see it with their cricket team as well. Great wristy players with great skills, always can find their way out of danger.
One of the sharpest tools in the kitchen in India, hockey player.
So less than 5 minutes left in this opening quarter. It's been an exciting game so far. Just get one of those Tauranga special winds blow through the microphones here. I'm sure you can hear that. Stuart, I can't call myself a great hockey player myself, but how does the weather come into a factor? Sorry, we'll get back to that, but we've got a goal. So India are up 2-0 now. I think that was number 30, Vivek Prasad. He scored on debut.
Little bit of a conversation there as to whether he was inside the circle before he took that shot. I think he did just manage to get the ball across the line, but Japan don't seem too happy about it.
Yeah, we're just having a look at that on a replay. It looked like he might have been just inside. It's fantastic. Got to be one of the best feelings scoring on debut. I can't say I've ever done it myself, Stuart, but what a way to boost his confidence in his international career. It's good clearance there from India. And Stuart, I think before that goal, I was just touching on the weather and how, as a hockey player, how does that factor in? I mean, is there much difference in terms of playing into a strong wind or strong rain? How does that change the game?
Yeah, under the current conditions, the wind won't be too much of an issue. Obviously, playing into it makes running a bit tougher, but there's two halves of hockey and you switch ends, so that won't make a big factor today. It might make it a little bit tougher on the communications, particularly in the defence, but without the rain coming, things should still be fine for good, high-quality hockey.
As we say that, the sun's just snuck out from behind the clouds, so pretty pleasant conditions here. If not, the wind could just dial down a little. So India now up 2-0 over Japan. 3 minutes to go in the first quarter, and they really are looking dominant so far. Japan will need to be careful. They won't want to give away another goal. Just need to stay in the contest. But India definitely putting in an impressive effort so far. And I suppose that last goal there from Vivek Prasad, a perfect example of where you put a program in place and build some great depth within a squad, and you can afford to lose 4, 5, 6 players and still be a great team. Again, Japan just getting a little frustrated. Indian defence doing a good job of just getting up and challenging for the ball, getting the final tackles in. So just a little gap opened up for Ito there, out on the sideline, but couldn't find his player downfield. Nice little skills from Mandeep Singh there, and he's just doing a great job of keeping the ball away from Japan, really. And some good cut-out balls. India won't be letting up the pressure, will they? Sure. They'll just be wanting to keep the foot on the pedal, wanting more goals for sure.
Yeah, they're definitely enjoying the lion's share of attacking possession in particular, and you can see the difference between the two teams. The Indians are a lot more happy to get the ball going forward, in particular down the middle of the field, as they get a good circle inch here down the baseline. Shot just flashed wide. Whereas the Japanese seem a little bit timid, putting the ball into the middle of the field. I mean, it is a dangerous place to have it, but if you can have control there in the middle of the field, you can dictate how things go. But the current tactic of trying to attack over the sidelines is just playing straight into India's hands.
Yeah, and just looking at that replay, it was a lot closer than it looked from up here in the commentary spot. It was a fantastic chance for India. Again, doing a great job of just getting the ball into attacking areas and continually putting the pressure on Japan. From a defensive perspective, you know, putting up with that and trying to contain India will be pretty tiring for Japan, won't it? And here we go, India again into the circle, and then looking for a penalty corner, looking for a foot. Let's get a 16. And that is the end of the first quarter. 2-0 to India over Japan. Stuart, you think India will be pretty pleased with, you know, the buffer they've had so far, putting 2 goals in for a pretty dominant opening quarter, really?
Yeah, they'll be happy. They've done well. They've moved the ball around a lot, and they're finding quite a few good long balls. That last one there, a backhand across the field, great skill. But if you could find those things opening up, it means you're doing really, really well with your attacking game plan.
Yeah, the teams just huddle up, get some water in as we tick down only 2 minutes before the start of the second quarter here. And yeah, like you said, I think they will be happy with that start to be up by 2 goals after the first quarter. I can't say too many people would be angry with that. So Japan will just be looking to compose themselves, and they really need to break the ball out and create something on attack, I think. So just to recap that first quarter, the first goal to Rupinder Singh coming from a penalty stroke, and then the second one to the debutant, Vivek Prasad. Fantastic finish from him, which was, as we say, just inside the circle. Very, very close, but you know, hockey is one of those games where, you know, an inch either way can be the difference between a goal or not a goal. Teams just get back out on the turf and get themselves set to start the second quarter. Smiles all around in the Indian camp. Japan looking not quite as happy, but they'll be backing themselves to stick in this one, and they are a team who does defend for the full game. So up by 2 goals, Stuart. Will that change how India approach the game, or do you think they'll just keep on plugging away?
No, I think they'll stick to what they did in the first quarter. They seem to be very effective, and they'll just keep going, trying to get some more goals on the board.
Just a little half chance there for Japan. So I think this might be the first time we've seen Japan in the attacking circle. Would that be right?
Yeah, they haven't been down here too often.
Here we go. Not too far away. I think that was Wakuru looking to find the back of the goal there, but
that's a real good pinch by the Japanese striker in the circle. A little bit of daylight robbery for you.
Couldn't quite find the back of the net, but that's good to see from Japan. They're starting to build a little bit of momentum, and they'll want to keep that sort of thing going. A team also which traditionally has a pretty decent penalty corner piece, so if they can get the ball on the circle and find a foot or find one of those penalty corners, you'd back them. Again, just trying to find their way out of a little bit of pressure from India, and they do well there. Good clearance there from Matani. Both sides you wouldn't think will tire. They'll keep going for the full game, so expect to keep seeing a lot of good action here as we move along, but Japan just looking to settle. Good tackle there, but just loses the ball. Can't quite get the trap in, and India will go again with Rupinder at the back. Such a solid player.
This is where Japan can be dangerous on the counter-attack. We've got some numbers coming forward here.
Just really struggling to break down the Indian defence, which is very, very strong. A little chance here, but good work from the captain, Chingansana. There's the ball away, and then he's away upfield, and Rupinder is a big rig, controlling that back. You know, I guess a little bit of change to hockey over the recent years in terms of, you used to see some of the giant boys sitting at the back and couldn't controlling play, but now, there's real athletes across the whole turf, aren't there? You've got defenders who are big boys but could potentially also play striker.
Yeah, the stick skills in general of all the players has just kept getting better over the years, and it's no longer a job of the defender to sit at the back and just wog the ball down the field. They've got to have some pretty fancy skills in their arsenal as well these days.
Of course, though, often some of those big frames do lend to drag flicking, and Rupinder probably one of the best in the world at that skill. Just like that, India are down the field again and in attack. Need to move it back and spread it. That's good. That's vintage Japan. You know, they rush in and they'll break it down. They won't give you a lot of time, and some good movement there. Good pass across the field from Tanaka, and does find his player, but India again just able to get the final touch on and keep Japan out of the circle. Always expected a fast sort of game. It's been sort of end-to-end so far in this quarter. India holding that 2-goal advantage.
Japan sitting very deep defensively as well. They've got all their strikers well behind halfway.
Yeah, again, I guess just looking to kind of, I guess, hold on against some deep pressure, and they'll be hoping they can get a little sneaky tackle in and break away. But hasn't happened thus far. Only a few chances for Japan in the attacking circle. India have really been dominant and showing why they are one of the best in the world. Exciting sort of series in terms of how those world rankings do stack up. Obviously, we spoke about India, ranked 6th in the world, but on the charge up. Also, Belgium also playing the series against New Zealand later tonight, ranked number 3 in the world, but arguably one of the top 2 in the world at the moment, the way they have been playing. Didn't have the greatest World League final campaign, so they'll be looking to make amends here. And the Vantage Black Sticks, a chance for Darren Smith and his boys to test themselves out across the series. 23 players taking part across Tauranga and Hamilton. A very, very important sort of series in the build-up to Commonwealth Games and then World Cup at the end of the year. A little chance there for Japan. Couldn't quite get purchase on the final touch that they would have liked.
Yeah, one of the Indian defenders has not done their job there. The Japanese striker was completely unmarked.
It's those little chances that they often thrive on, Japan. They put one in the back of the net and it's game on again. Spoke about the series as an important part of the build-up for the year, but also leading into 2019, where potentially this time next year the Hockey Pro League will be underway with a home and away for all the teams involved in that, including the Vantage Black Sticks men and women. So an exciting sort of time, really. That will really revolutionise the game. It's something the sport has never seen, a consistent sort of calendar, knowing that in 3 years' time we might have Holland here on the 17th of January. Pretty exciting, really, isn't it, from a hockey fan perspective?
Yeah, really exciting prospect, that new Hockey Pro League system that they're going to be starting in 2019. It means that there'll be all the top teams in the world will play some games here in New Zealand, and we'll get to see them, in your backyard, so to speak.
Hopefully during the Kiwi summer, under some sunshine. India just trying to get the ball out here. Japan putting a little bit of press on, but again, those stick skills and structure are always good from Indian backs. Surinder Kumar there, just looking to hit his player, but moves the ball back. It's a great ball from Virendra. Number 26 there for India stretches it right across the field and just couldn't quite find the final mark there. And Japan able to clear away.
Japan really struggling here. They're unable to string too many passes together when they're outletting, and it just kills your momentum straight away. And of course allows India to just sit with the ball when they have it, as they get lots of possession.
Yeah, when you get into a phase like that, it's, you know, for India, they're not expending too much energy as they kind of control and have their way. And I guess for Japan, it'll be, you know, tiring just trying to keep India out of their attacking circle. So we're already just approaching half-time with 3 minutes 38 on the clock. Japan will be much happier with this quarter so far. No goals for either side, but they have started to show a little bit more. But India still controlling play. Another nice ball there from the number six, Surinder Kumar. Really strong boys at the back there for India. Able to really stretch the Japanese defenders and try and mark their man. It's a good little move there from India, and that's a goal. It's a fantastic finish. I think that's the man himself again, number 30. Is it Vivek Prasad? He's got his second goal in his first match for India. He'll be pretty happy with that, won't he?
Yeah, not a bad scoring average to start your career.
So we look back at that replay, just a loose ball in the circle, and he came through and smashed it into the back of the goal. He was very happy with that. So India now up 3-0 over Japan with 2 minutes 32 left in the second quarter. All going India's way so far in this match. So a dream debut so far from the young man. Stuart, that's stuff hockey players and I guess all international players dream of.
It's always a great feeling scoring goals, no matter when it is. But on your debut, can't be too much of a worse time to do it. I myself was never much of a goal scorer, so I know how far and few between they can be. So getting on the score sheet's always good.
Certainly not letting up any in terms of pressure, India. They're still on the hunt and keeping that pressure on Japan as we tick away towards halftime.
Really aggressive high press here from India. They want to make a quick steal down the attacking end. But Japan are able to break their way out of it.
Yeah, little breakaway, but just no one on the end of it there. So not too much trouble for India.
Not a bad nudge across the front of the goal, hoping to get a striker on the far post. He wasn't quite there, but a decent speculator.
Yeah, they need to just keep trying things like that, don't they? It's quite hard, I suppose, going down by 3 goals to, you know, put the head down and perhaps lose focus a little. They'll need to work really hard here, and I'm sure they'll have a few words in less than a minute's time during that half-time break. And India just looking to hold firm and carry that buffer into half-time as we tick away. So the hooter for half-time, and that'll do it for the first half. Here at the University of Waikato Four Nations opener between India and Japan. India really dominating this one so far. We're up 3-0 over Japan. A first half double from the man on debut, Vivek Prasad. Having a stunning game so far, and Rupinder adding the third from a penalty stroke. So Stuart, just looking at that first half, you'd like to say the Indians will be pretty happy with how they're going in their first game here in New Zealand. Japan, probably some stern words.
Yeah, everything going pretty much to plan for the Indians. They've held possession of the ball at the back. They've got some good attacking go forward with the ball when they have looked to go forward. And to be honest, they're defending pretty comfortably. Japan have not looked very threatening at all.
Fantastic. So that wraps up the first half. We'll take a little break here at Lake Park in Mount Maunganui, and we'll be back in less than 10 minutes for the second half.
Our world is changing faster than ever, creating new challenges, new opportunities.
I see a planet full of amazing systems that are under threat.
I see a world where there is clean water for us all.
Where everyone is connected and safe.
Where machines make the impossible possible. Where we can all thrive.
I fight to preserve our lakes as temperatures rise.
My research explores the past to protect our future.
I search the oceans for answers that make a difference.
And I use soil to reverse the effects of climate change.
Our work encourages social and environmental responsibility.
By asking who gets the last drop.
My research shapes law to protect us in the virtual world.
And I develop software so no one can take our identity from us.
My research assists athletes to push the boundaries of human performance.
My stories explore the heart of our experience.
And my work keeps our language alive for future generations.
Through my mahi, people will once more hold their loved ones.
Using methods we never imagined.
The University of Waikato, connecting our brightest minds to the world's toughest problems.
Welcome to a metropolitan city where the standard of living is high and the opportunities are virtually limitless. Welcome to Hamilton, the perfect place to build your future. On the banks of New Zealand's longest river, the mighty Waikato River, Hamilton is nestled in the heart of the North Island. It has an exciting future as one of New Zealand's fastest growing cities. More people are moving here as it's a modern, innovative city with affordable living costs and thriving businesses. There's plenty to do in your spare time. Visit one of the large destination playgrounds. ride along a river path, watch an international sport event or concert, or shop at one of the great shopping malls or boutiques around the city. There's also a rich art scene, world-famous Hamilton Gardens, and an incredible array of cafes, bars and award-winning restaurants. Education is the key to our future, and with nationally recognised public and private primary, intermediate and high schools dotted throughout the city, a great school is never too far away. Every year, thousands of brilliant students and trade-trained specialists graduate from the University of Waikato, Wintec and Te Wānanga or Aotearoa. With more than 160 different ethnicities, Hamilton is a place of real diversity. Our iwi is Waikato Tainui, who have 64,500 members. And the Waikato Museum displays more than 38,000 taonga, or treasures, of the Tainui people and Kingitanga. We're a gateway to the rest of the North Island, with east and west coast beaches, ski fields, nature walks and international tourist attractions only a short drive away. Whether you're a family or an individual, a small business, a large organisation, a music aficionado, a nature lover, a thrill seeker or a sports fan, there's something for you here. Hamilton, it's the perfect place to build your future.
Staying at the top of your game means dealing with pressure. Ask Dan Smith, whose 3 picks at Ellerslie just came in. Join TAB, deposit $10, get a $20 bonus. TAB, name in the game.
Coverage of the University of Waikato Four Nations is proudly brought to you by Vantage Windows and Doors, Tauranga City Council, TECT, and Hamilton City Council.
Welcome back to Blake Park in Mount Maunganui. As you see on your screen now, the turf being watered by hand. I guess the water cannons on in this wind is a little bit pointless with the wind blowing so strongly. So the turf being watered by hand, and the crowd enjoying a great game so far, with India up 3-0 over Japan. So we just take a little look at the Indian side, which we didn't quite get a chance to do before the match due to some technical issues, unforced of course, as technical issues always are. So we look at that Indian side, captained today by Chinglan Sana, a fantastic player and 4 on debut. One of those, Vivek Prasad, having a monster match so far with 2 goals on debut. In Japan, just weathering the storm, and they'll look to come back strong in the second half, but captained by Yamashita today, and 2 players on debut. Only 4 players with more than 100 tests to their name, so they're a very young side, looking to build as we are 2 years away from the home Olympics in Tokyo. Let's make a little special